slavery. I'm going to say that again just with feeling. I said some things earlier inspiring people to start their new government, a very neat way. I said that the use of currency, when you use currency that has no fixed value, whether it's a Federal Reserve or some, again, a global currency, we'll see where this article goes between talking about China and Brazil. If it's just this fixed funny money that's whimsically driven by people who just push print, it can only be used as an instrument to trap and manage people in an institution of slavery. That's the only thing that a funny money system is really used for. Now let's see what China's idea is. First, I think they're solving their problems realistically rather than going to the crazy New World Order kind of trapping the entire global population. It says Mr. De Silva, who is visiting Beijing this week, and Hu Jintao, China's president, first discussed the idea of replacing the dollar with renminbi. That's like the yuan, Chinese yuan or whatever, and they got the yen and all this kind of stuff. But it's like the higher, if you add up all these little Chinese little small pieces, it ends up being the big money for China, the big denomination, so to speak. So replacing the dollar as a reserve currency and use the renminbi and the real, the Brazilian real, as trade currencies when they met together at the G20 summit in London last month. So look at this. They're reporting that they had this little other discussion, a little in-camera negotiation, a little woodshedding in the dark room behind closed doors. They were negotiating a financial deal between them, and I guess there's nothing wrong with that. An official at Brazil's central bank stressed that the talks were at an early stage. He said that what was under discussion was not a currency swap, now that has meaning, of the kind China recently agreed with Argentina, and which the U.S. had agreed with several countries, including Brazil. See, what happens is somebody makes a loan with U.S. Federal Reserve notes, and it's risky. They say, well, we're going to pay you back in Federal Reserve notes. Well, what if the monetary system of the United States and Federal Reserve notes gets insane on you all of a sudden? I mean, and you've got this agreement to pay back in U.S. notes. Who knows what's going to happen with that? Well, a currency swap is say, okay, we're going to pay you back with something else in kind. Like we're going to pay you back with euros or something. Or some other kind of thing, So that's what a currency swap is. So let's see what it says. What we are talking about now is Brazil paying for Chinese goods with reals and China paying for Brazilian goods with renminbi. Okay, so the goal is here, let's just put it in layman's terms, China and Brazil, this actually makes sense. Brazil says, hey, China, I'm going to pay for your goods with our money, and you pay for your Brazilian goods that you buy, your bananas, with your money. And then, of course, we'll have your money, and what that kind of does is pretty smart because it locks into Brazil. What if nobody else will take China's money, right? Brazil will have to go to China to get their stuff, or they'll have to solve their own problem. And same thing with China. What if nobody will take Brazilian reals? Then China's stuck with buying bananas, because that's all they've got, Brazilian money. But they could work it out. And then if they cheat each other, they can have a war amongst themselves. I mean, that's actually, I think, a healthier way to do things, a better way to get back into good faith. But let's see what happened. And I put this next thing in red, my little notes. This is actually the article from Brazil, the Brazilian news. Mr. Zhao recently proposed replacing the U.S. dollar as the world's leading currency. Now watch this. Danger. With a new international reserve currency, not money, but a currency. Possibly it be in the form of, watch this. Watch what they call this. They use these code words. Then you got to look it up. The average Joe won't know what they're talking about. In the form of special drawing rights. This is important to you, Florida. Remember just a week ago, 2 weeks ago, we mentioned to a senator that, oh, by the way, they tried to propose a constitutional amendment again in Florida, and he wasn't even aware it was happening. He thought it was something that died last year and it came up again this year that was really going to affect your fundamental rights in Florida. Well, look at this. Warning. China is proposing that they have a new international reserve currency, which would be fine if it was real money, but possibly in the form of special drawing rights, a unit of account used by the International Monetary Fund. This is where my homework kicked in. Special drawing rights is not money. It's a credit line. So if we have an international monetary system where the fundamental reference is a credit line that somebody somewhere, some little banking committee someplace will control what money is available to every single country, which means ultimately every single human on the planet. There's a little committee issuing special drawing rights. It's a credit line. China's suggesting, China, which has gold, by the way, and a lot of people power, and a lot of raw materials, they've really got potentially the greatest economy on the planet. But the United States is showing itself, because of probably technology and its prowess there, has made itself to be the strongest economy in the world. But really, China has the greatest potential. And if they would stop killing their babies, they would be literally the capacity to be in the strongest nation on the earth. It would happen. So watch this. They suggested special drawing rights from the International Monetary Fund as to being the reserve currency. It's a credit line. It says how much debt, how much enslavement may you become in the one and only government that will ultimately be in power, this government of a World Bank and a little committee. I mean, that's what they want. They want a special drawing rights, a credit line to be the International Monetary Fund. It's controlled by one little organization. Look what's happening in America now. How much control do you have over this insane monetary policy, this insane financial exchange system? It's wiping out your economy, and people are pulling the purse strings and saying, no, let's see, Chrysler, thank you for building all those wonderful cars, especially the retro models. Thank you, guys, especially that Challenger. I dig that Challenger. Oh, by the way, you're finished. We have stopped your access to money. You have no longer the right to a free flow of money because we in the committee have determined it. That's what they're proposing. That is essentially what could happen to you, folks. So we come back. I'm going to go into this a little bit deeper because it's important to you. What's going on? And again, this is a hint to me that there's a possibility that you, the young person of Florida, has a chance to frame the new country, the new nation. Hey, I got an idea. It could be conceived in liberty with the proposition that all men are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, and among these are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. To secure these rights, your government, you can institute among men deriving its direct just power from you instead of the International Monetary Fund. We'll be back.